it's Jessica from Coors Wellness Center, and I have your stretch break. Today, all you need is a tennis ball. You can also use a lacrosse ball or a pickleball, or I've also heard of people using a clean Kong, like one of those treat toys that you give your dog. So you'll need something. This is going to loosen up tight muscles and relieve some tension in your body. So I'm going to do everything from the ground today, but you can also do this standing. Just going to do it on the ground, it'll just be easier. Just know that you can do it standing or seated. Just a couple things before we get started is that you should never feel any sharp shooting pains. That could indicate that you are on a nerve or you're just not doing something that's right. Maybe that's something that you need to see a physical therapist for if you feel that way. It should feel like there's tension. It's not going to feel great, but it should never be sharp shooting. You should also never roll over bones, and then we're going to hold everything for about 30 to 60 seconds depending on how much tension there is. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with our feet. So I'm going to pop off my shoes here. I'll do this one standing. We're just going to roll the ball over or under our foot. I even like to do this in the middle of the day while I'm at my desk, so no excuses. So just roll over the arch, the heel, and the toe mound. I like to really get around the arch of my foot. I feel like that's where I hold a lot of tension. If you don't think that you have tension in your feet, I really recommend that you try this. You might notice, wow, I do have tension in my feet. When we walk all day, depending on the shoes, maybe there's not a lot of support. Switch sides. Can all depend. I even like to do this before I go for a run. It could be a placebo effect, but I just feel like it really helps loosen everything up. I also foam roll before I run for that same reason. We don't want tense, tight muscles before we do an activity. So you might even notice that one foot is more tense, more tight than the other. I definitely feel that with my left. So maybe you hold this one for 60 seconds instead of 30. Just depending on what you're doing. Roll in different motions. And then done. Okay, we're going to go down to the ground. So we'll do the rest of this in a seated. So we're going to do our calves next. So have the ball underneath the medius part of the calf. And again, just roll back and forth. Try not to do that too much, although it is a ball, so it's going to happen. So I just roll around. I find a place of tension, say it's right there. I'm just going to hold it here for about 10 seconds or until I feel some relief and roll down. So you can make this feel better or worse by simply the pressure that you put on. So I'm putting quite a bit of pressure, putting a lot of my weight on the spot right now, or I could just relax. So you can see before my butt was lifted up, now I'm just rolling around. Let's switch sides. Just do about 30 seconds on each side. Today as we do this together, but if you feel like this isn't enough, you can always do it again on your own. Everyone's going to be a little different where they feel tension. Again, if you find a spot that really feels like a knot, just try to hold it there before you move on. Next, we're going to move up to our hamstrings, the back of our legs. This can become tight, right? Just rolling it around. Again, if you don't really feel like anything's happening here, that's totally fine. In fact, that's probably good. You don't want to have a ton of tension all the time. And let's move on to the other side, the other hamstring. Again, you might notice that one side has more tension than the other. That's completely normal. Flip your leg around. We have hamstrings, our strings. There's multiple of them, so make sure that you're rolling it around there. Good. Next we're going to do is our hip. So you can do this one of two ways. You can do it more under your glute area if you want, or if you're really feeling like you want some pain, you can put it right where your hip crease is, and then just lean down into it. So this doesn't always feel great. but you really notice if you have some tension. Again, go light with this one. You won't put all your weight down, especially the hip doesn't always feel good. So again, the hip crease. This doesn't feel good, you can do your glutes instead. And this one I just like to hold it. I don't really like to move around. I move around until I find the tender spot, and then I just hold it for about 30 seconds. Again, one hip might be more or less tense than the other. You might have to shift around to find that area. And then the hip is also a source of trigger point. So you might even notice that you're feeling this actually down your quad. Maybe you're feeling in your calf. Maybe you are feeling in your hip. Maybe you're feeling in your knee. So sometimes where you feel pain isn't exactly where the issue is, where the cause of it is. And I highly recommend everyone do our movement efficiency test for that reason. Okay, next we're gonna do our low back. So we're back to sitting on our butt. Ball is gonna be right about the dimple area of your back, your low back. And just hold it here. Again, you can roll around until you find a point of tension and hold it, especially if you sit all day. At one point in my office, I had 2 tennis balls. I just put it in a sock, made like a little peanut, and then I had it in between my shoulder blades, and that really helped too. It kept my posture up, and it just felt good. And then I can massage my back. All right, switch sides. Find the spot and then hold it there. Remember, you should never feel any sharp shooting pains. It's not gonna feel great all the time. It is gonna feel like there's tension. Obviously, if you have tight muscles, there will be tension, but it should never be extremely painful. All right, lift it up. We're gonna do 2 more exercises. We're moving on to the top of our body. So the next we have is our shoulders. So we really wanna put the ball somewhere right here. Remember, we don't wanna roll over bone over like that or around. We just wanna feel that tension. We're gonna do this on both sides. This is one you could do standing as well. So if you were standing, you would put the ball up against the wall and you kind of like roll around with it. Again, I'm just doing it on the floor because it's easier to show y'all. We're gonna put it down. So find a point of tension first. I'm like, this is a little tight. And then just lean back into it. And again, you could roll around or just find that area. Good, and switch sides. So this side, I'm going to come down a little lower and hold it. Good. Pull the ball out, and the next thing we have is our neck. So moving on to our neck, be really careful with this one. You can just roll it around underneath the base of your spine, kind of move side to side. I have it right in the center of my neck, and I'm just rolling my head. So for this one, again, the ball is just right about here, and I'm rolling my neck side to side. If you wanted to do it standing, you could also put it up against the wall, just kind of roll it. Or you could roll it back and forth using your hand. So a couple of different ways you can do that. I hope you learned a lot today with your tennis ball, your lacrosse ball, your Kong, or whatever you have. Like I said, this is just a great way to relieve some tension. After this, roll it out. Do some static stretches, do a little yoga, do some mobility work. That would be great after this, or just get back to working in your day. Just a reminder that this stretch break was created for BCWC members and Molson Coors employees only. All right, you guys, I'll see you next time. Bye.